Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Sapna Dadwal. I'm working as a professor in the Department of Management at St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. This is lecture number 6 of Organizational Behavior of Unit 2. The subject is taught in CAC, ETC, Civil Engineering in 4th semester. In the 4th semester. Sorry, it is rated in 2nd sem. This is a mistake, please. This subject is taught in 4th semester of BTech. The topics I am going to cover in this lecture are, I'm going to cover perception, definitions of perception, process of perception. Then I'm going to cover learning, concept of learning, characteristics of learning, then theories of learning. So starting with first, perception. Perception depends on complex functions of nervous system, but subjectively seems mostly effortless because this processing happens outside of consciousness awareness. According to Joseph Reeds, perception includes all those processes by which an individual receives information about his environment, seeing, hearing, feeling, tasting and smelling. So according to B.V.H. Gilmer, perception is the process of becoming aware of situations, of adding meaningful associations to sensations. So, in the words of Uday Parikh, he defined perception as the process of receiving, selecting, organizing, interpreting, checking, and reacting to sensory stimuli or data. So, according to S.P. Robbins, perception can be defined as the process by which individuals organize and interpret their sensory impressions in order to give meaning to their environment. So, perception includes 5 senses: touch, sight, taste, smell and sound. So, it also includes what is known as perception, a set of senses involving the ability to detect changes in the body, positions and movement. Now, importance of perception. Perception is subjective, active and creative process through which we assign meaning to sensory formation to understand ourselves and others. It can be defined as our recognition and interpretation of sensory information. It also includes how we respond to the information. Second is, it is a process by which an organization or an organism detect and interpret information from the external world by means of sensory receptors. It is our sensory experience of the world around us and involves both recognition of environmental stimuli and actions in response to those stimuli. Then perception is very important in understanding human behavior because every person perceives the world and approaches life problem differently. So whatever we see or feel is not necessarily the same it really is. When we buy something, it is not because it is best, but because we take it to be the best. Then next is, if people behave on the basis of their perception, we can predict their behavior in the changed circumstances by understanding their present perception of the environment. One person may be viewing the fact in one way which may be different from the fact as seen by another viewer. Then next is, with the help of perception, the needs of various people can be determined because people's perception is influenced by their needs. Then perception is very important for manager who wants to avoid making errors when dealing with people and events in the work setting. This problem is made more complicated by the fact that different people perceive the same situation differently. In order to deal with subordinate effectively, the managers must understand their perceptions properly. Perception can be important because it offers more than objective output. It ingests an observation and manufactures an altered reality enriched with previous experiences. Then perception, next is perception build character that defines different roles individuals fall into: the clown, the hypocrite, the self-righteous, the victim, etc., etc. So perception is vitally important if we want to get along with others, to try to see things from their perspective or walk in their shoe. their shoes for a while. If we walk in their shoes, we will gain a new perspective about things, and that understand the other and also can love and help the other more appropriately. Thus, for understanding human behavior, it is very important to understand the perception. That is how they perceive the different situation. Next is people's behavior is based on their perception of what reality is, not on reality itself. The world is, it is perceived as the world. That is important for understanding human behavior. Thus, perception is not just what one sees with the eyes, it is much more complex process by which individuals selectively absorbs or assimilate and the stimuli in the environment, cognitively organizes the perceived information in a specific fashion, and then interpret the information to make an assessment about what is going on in one's environment. So it is very clear from this that how perception is important. Perception is important to understand people. Perception is important to help employees. Perception is important to increase shares, increase the customer satisfaction. Perception is important for creating a cordial environment in the organization. Perception is important to understand the needs of the people. Perception is important for decision making related to employees. Perception is important for enhancing or the output, also in increasing the production also, because while if we will understand the perception of customers, we will understand their needs also. So we have seen from the above how perception is important for the business people. Now the next topic is perceptual process. The perceptual process allows us to experience the world around us. In this overview of perception and perceptual process, we will learn about how we go from detecting stimuli in the environment to actual taking action based on the information, and it can be organized into our existing structure and patterns and are then interpreted based on previous experience. Actually, perception process is a sequence of steps that begins with environment and lead to our perception of a stimulus, an action in response to the similar. So there are three stages of perception process. First one is selection, second is organization, that is perceptual mechanism, then third one is interpretation. First is selection. So the first step of perception is that we select the information which are there in the environment. So selecting the information from the environment is the first process. We select according to information on the basis of our motives. We select information on the basis of our need. We select information on the basis of our past experience. So whatever information there is in the external environment, we select as per our needs and motive. Then the second is organization. Then once we have chosen to attend to stimulus in the environment, the choice sets off series of reaction to our brand. Then organizing is the second part of perception process, in which we sort and categorize information that we have perceived based on innate and learned cognitive patterns. So at this level, we organize this information. We categorize it and we organize it. Information. We categorize it into different groups. Then comes third step is interpretation. After we have attended to stimulus, then in second we have put this information stimuli into different category. The third is to interpret this information. After organizing, third is to interpret information about people. This is like to make perception. What this information is all about. Interpretation and categorizes are generally the most subjective areas of perception, as they involve decisions about whether listeners like what they hear, and want to keep listening. So we make immediate evaluation and cause automatic judgment of positive and negative reactions towards other, which occurs outside of our awareness. The selection, organization, and interpretation of perception can differ among different people. So people select information as per their senses or stimuli. Then they organize the information as per their stimuli, and then they interpret the information and make their perception about different people, different objects, and different situations. So there are three parts of selection perception process, stages of perception process. Now, error in perception. There are some error in perceptions also. These errors are: first is illusion. The illusion is a false perception. Here the person will mistake a stimulus and perceive it wrongly. For example, in a dark, a rope is mistaken as a snake, or vice versa. So the voice of an unknown person is mistaken as a friend's voice. A person standing at a distance who is not known may be perceived as a known person. So this is called as illusion. This is an error. Second is hallucination. Sometimes we came across instances where the individual perceives some stimulus even when it is not present. So the phenomena is known as hallucination. The person may see an object, person, etc. He may listen to some voices, though there are no object and sounds in reality. The third one is selective perception. Selective perception means a situation when people selectively interpret what they see on the basis of their interest. So background experience and attitudes. So it means any characteristic that make a person, object, or event stand out will increase the probability that will be perceived. It may be honesty, it may be integrity, etc. Then comes halo effect. The individual is evaluated on the basis of perceived positive quality, feature, or trait. When we draw a general impression about an individual on the basis of single characteristic, such as intelligence, appearance, it is called as halo effect. Then comes stereotyping. People usually can fall into at least one general category based on physical or behavioral trait, then they will be evaluated. When we judge someone on the basis of our perception of the group to which he or she belongs, we are using a shortcut called stereotyping. For example, a boss might assume that a worker from a Middle-East country is lazy and cannot meet performance objectives, even if the worker tried his best. Then is similarity. Often people tend to seek out and rate more positively those who are similar to themselves. This tendency to approve of some similarity may cause evaluators to give better rating to employees who exhibit the same interest, work methods, point of view, or standards. Then comes horn effect. When the individual is completely evaluated on the basis of negative quality or feature perceived, this result in an overall lower rating than acceptable rate. He is not formally dressed up in office. That is why he may be casual at work too. So this is an example. If the person is not formally dressed up so it may be taken him as that he is not in a good work. He is not a hard performer. Then comes contrast. The tendency to rate people relatively to other people rather than to be individual performance he or she doing. Rather, we will evaluate an employee by comparing employee performance with other employees. This is known as contrast. Now the next topic is factors affecting perception. Perception is a process by which a individual select, organize, and interpret information to create a meaningful picture. So perception depends not only on physical stimuli but also on stimulu's relation to surrounding field and on condition within an individual. So it is a process by which individual organize, interpret their sensory perceives in order to give meaning to the environment. So there are a number of factors which affect the perception. maybe individual look. First is individual's look, which affects the perceptions. Perception is personal characteristics of the individual perceiver is influenced. Then perceiver's attitude, personality, motives, interest, his past experiences and expectations also affects the perception. Then novelty, motion, sound size, background, proximity, similarity are some factors which affects the perception. So perception is determined by both physiological and psychological characteristics of the human being, whereas sensation is conceived with only physiological factor. So we can say the factors which affect perceptions are personal characteristics, then perception is also affected by hereditary characters like his personality, his looks, his physical features like his height, etc. Then perception is also affected by his attitude, his personality, his motive, his interest, his past experience, his person's expectations. Then perception is also affected by person's novelty, motion, sound, size, background, similarity, etc. Now the next topic is learning. So learning can be defined as the permanent change in behavior due to direct and indirect experience. It means change in behavior, attitude due to education and training, practice and experience. It is completely by acquisition of knowledge and skill which are relatively permanent. Now the characteristics of learning are: learning involves change, all learning involves activities, learning requires interaction. So learning is a lifelong process and it is a continuous process. Learning occurs randomly throughout life. Learning involves problem solving. Learning is the process of acquiring information. So learning involves far more than thinking. Thinking is not learning. Learning is something, learning is more than thinking. And experience is necessary for learning because one learns from experience also. And learning requires practice also because one learns with practice also. Now factors affecting learning. The first one is motivation. The motivation level of a person who wants to learn, that affects learning. Because if the motivation is high, if a person wants to learn, only then he can learn. If the person doesn't want to learn, he is not motivated to learn, then he cannot learn. Then second factor which affects learning is practice. So we all know that practice makes us perfect. So in order to be perfectionist, at least one should practice. So learning also comes with practice. The more a person practice, more he or better he learn. Then next is environment. We learn from our surroundings, we learn from the people around us. There are two types of environment, internal and external. Example, a child when at home learns from the family, which is an internal environment, but when he's sent to the school, he learns it from his teachers, his friends, other staff members, and it is an external environment. Then comes mental group. It describes our thinking by the group of people we chose to hang out with. In simple words, we make a group of those people with whom we connect. It can be more social cause where people with the same mentality work in the same direction. Example, a group of readers, a group of travelers, etc. So, the group we chose to we hang out, the group we all our learning depends on that particular group also. If we chose to hang out with a group of readers, then we will learn better. If we chose to hang out with a group of travelers, then maybe we will not learn that much about the topic or about the topic we want to learn, then we'll be learning about traveling only. Now the next topic is theories of learning. The first theory is classical conditioning theory. The classical conditioning occurs when a conditioned stimulus is coupled with unconditional stimulus. Usually the conditioned stimulus is an impartial stimulus like the sound of turning fork, and the unconditioned stimulus is biologically effective like the taste of food, and the unconditioned response to the unconditioned stimulus is an unlearned reflex. Responses like salivation or sweating. So after this coupling process is repeated, for example, some learning may already occur after a single coupling. An individual shows a conditioned response to a conditioned stimulus. So when the conditioned stimulus is presented alone, the conditioned response is mostly similar to unconditioned response, but unlike the unconditioned response, it must be acquired through experience and nearly impermanent. So it is clear that some things we learn first time, and for some things to learn we need time, and we need to have more experience, we need to have more practice. Then second is operant conditioning theory. Operant conditioning theory is also known as instrumental conditioning. This theory is learning process in which behavior is sensitive to or controlled by its outcome. Let us take an example of a child. A child may learn to open a box to get the candy inside, or learn to avoid touching a hot stove. So in comparison, the classical conditioning develop a relationship between stimulus and behavior. The example can be further elaborated as the child may learn to salivate at a sight of candy, or to tremble at the sight of an angry parent. So in 20th century, the study of animal learning was commanded by the analysis of these sorts of learning, and they still at the core of behavior analysis. Now is social learning theory. So the key assumption of social learning theory are: learning is not exactly behavioral. Instead, it is cognitive process that takes place in a social context. Then learning can occur by observing a behavior and by observing the outcome of the behavior. So learning includes observations, extraction of information from those observations, and making decisions regarding the performance of behavior. So thus learning can occur beyond the observable change in behavior. Now next is cognitive learning theory. Cognition defines a person's idea, thought, knowledge, interpretation, and understanding about himself and environment. So this theory considers learning as the outcome of deliberate thinking on a problem or situation based upon known fact, and responding in an objective and more oriented manner. So it perceives that a person learns the meaning of various objects, events, and also learns the response depending upon the meaning assigned to the stimuli. So this theory debates that the learner forms a cognitive structure in memory which stores organized information about the various events that occurs. So an individual behavior and organization is directly or indirectly affected by learning. For example, employees' skill, managers' attitude are all learned. And behavior can be improved by the following listed tips, like reducing absenteeism by rewarding employees for their fair attendance. Now these are the questions which are related to the above topic learns. If there is any query, please do contact me. Thank you so much.